Some of the technical and biological measurements, again we are not talking about the static physical thing, we are talking about the living organism, biological computer of God. Biological measurements of the living system of Isahi window or entrance of Genesis 6:16 also, or the vestibule or the porch, the window, the only one window of the Ark of Noah, or the Kaaba, Kibotos, cube of Noah, is that now I have listed some of these measurements for you to get a taste of how huge is our cow Christ King in that realm. Is that one Gav or Kave or Kofu or circumference or eyeliner of that eye, the two eyes, of Barzakh, or the Isahi-ismus, or the barrier or the divider, and that it got divided. That is all the time we are talking about Barzakh 3 times mentioned in many times it is mentioned as Bayan or Bain, Bina or Bayanat, and so Bayan, Bain of Samawat and Arz, Vama Bainahoma, and so and the Kav or Kav and Kuj, and so the Kav or the circumference of the Barzakhi divider or the speaking vestibule of Salsabil is 30 cubita, and this 30 cubita we have it in Genesis 6:15, 2 Chronicles 4:2, and 1 Kings 7:2, 6 and 23. And so each that's the circumference, and some I use the eyeliner, but as we will look, there are many names for it, like in book of Revelation 1 we read as the belt or the girdle around the waist of the Christ. Doesn't have any waist and that kind of thing. It is the circumference of the Daedor disc or the entry or the Salsabili porch, vestibule of speaking, or the mouth of God by which God talks, and Govas. Each back-to-back pillar, trunk, pole of 2 3/10 of 2 3/10, which means the higher cone, has a firmamental field of view with cave, or that's why we have the Asura cave or the calf. That's the higher cave or the higher cornea, or the higher kotarat or ketorat that we have it, is Asura 18 to also. It is 18 cubita. That's why we have it in 1 Kings 7:15, and Asura 18 is also about the same length. That is the basic part. Now we see once they're added then how it works. And so this is the field of view, FOV sometimes I call it, or the cave, and so this is the vertical axis of the cone, the basic vertical axis of the cone, and a spring suctioning due diameter. And so the springing or the suctioning or the gushing force or intaking due diameter of 12 cubita. That is in fact when two cave cups or the corneas with 18 cubita horns or qarnains are assembled, the two qarnains are assembled back to back, within and without, as we read in 1 Kings 7:9, or like that is covered with eye from inside and outside, in two amudi qarniyas, in two amudi or vertical overlaid assembly, rows or ways or mounts or tours, then pen product of it together becomes 2 times 18 equal to 36, or Asura 36, or Yasin Isusi Yazdan Izadi Heikal of 36, or in fact that is equal to 2 times 18 minus 1 common joint, because the two cubita, once they come, one is used as the living joint. Again, this is not a mathematical subtraction or addition. We're talking about a living human. It has nothing to do with the numbers and measurement. These measurements are based on a living organism, and so in order to make, we're talking about one living organism, and so in a way you can say that when you chop me into half, this right and this left are not gonna, if you sum them up, you're not gonna get 1 plus 1 equal to 2. You're gonna get one human. In that way, in the same way, these two 80 cubita deep or high field of view are, once they are assembled to each other, then it becomes 2 times 18 minus 1 equal to 13.5 Asura 5, or father. That's why we have it in 2 Corinthians at 3 verse 15 as 35 cubita tall pillars. And so this joint, one common joint, is 1 handbreadth joint, that we have it in 1 Kings 7:9 to 6, or 2 Chronicles 4:5, or tafah in Arabic and Hebrew, or the flushing brim or a spilling overflow, tafah. And so that is the 4 fingers, or a hollow duck or flute, or internal joint, or anbub, or that we call or nabab of Jeremiah 52:21, or the thickness, or the qabi or abi, that we have it in Arabic as well as, and so the hollow thickness of it is this handbreadth has the hollow thickness of 4 elemental fingers, and so this qabi or tabi is used in these references of 4 elemental fingers, and this is the 4 elemental finger of a Muslim handshake, that Christ stretches his hand and take the hand of the Petra. That's how the Chinut Pretum is going to chindan or handpick the bridge, or Asserat is going to attach to the ones that are being picked up. And at the same time, the double-edged sword, the same 4 elemental fingers are used of the air, and then the space, and then the soil, and then the salt water are going to be used in order to make a complete tombstone, or sigil, as we will look at it, or sigil, that will kill and shut down the third eye of everyone that is necessary to be terminated. 36 cubita. When this 36 cubita tall Tarshishi tablet tears, it becomes double or in tall thickness. Okay, and so and when it is mirrored in the Akashic space or in the tandem work with the lower part in order to make the Amudi Alam al-Mumaddada, then perpendicular porch, and so is mirrored in Akashic space of Christ Chrisma, that roaring thunder, seven thunder, that's when he puts the legs down, or that there is no leg there, then it becomes doubled again, and so that's how we get that the 18 multiplies by 2 18s, one up, one down, and then at another level, and then at another level, then we get to 144 cubita tall Yasperahi view range or visibility reach or tiqe or tiqos, or the wall, the firewall, the firepower, or the firepower, or the reach, the tele reach of Christ Karimi lens that is also a flash. It's both together, that can capture images in the middle of darkness, in the middle of nothing, or a garden that is made in void, in nothing. Also we call it 12 ribs by 12 ribs, type of cage containment of eternity, or the retrovertei vortex, whether the Galilee garden or the heavenly home, whether the higher cone or the lower cone, or the lower cosmos and then the higher cosmos. The moon books hardcover or body batten or batten wet lens or loge, or the molten seed, this loge, large lake in English, or the lodge, or the loge, or loka in Sanskrit, or the molten glasses ka'sam ma'in, or the lamp lenses tall thickness is 5 times 10 50 cubita. That's the length of this huge lens, tele wide lens, and that can become a fisheye lens and can become a tele lens. And so 1 Kings 7:2-6 or Genesis 6:15, that's not the lens. Everything that we are talking is laid in the vertical order or vertical ontological order. That's why the 50 is the lens, the height of the camera, and then from there again the lens can shoot up or down. Again, the lens is a double-sided lens, and so is a double corneae lens, and so that's a it can hold both. And so two this is also equal to 2 Hamsa palm pots of Christ the Karimi King. And so this is how we have the two hands. One hand, as I said, is holding the lampstand, and the other hand is like shepherding the nations with the iron rod. And so these two hands are going together. That's how they are assembled to each other through the 10 mekonas, and then to 10 kura or kuras, cures. And so or we call them as the ketorats, or the keter, or the chapiters, or the corneas of Jeremiah 55:22, 1 Kings 7:16, or 2 Chronicles 4:12. And so these hamsa palm pots, these palm pots, we can look at them as the lily cups as well, or the lily ketorats, back to back, were summed up as 5. Again, 5 cubita is the tallness of each qudrat or qudrat, and then we have the another one, and so once we sum up them together, then we don't get to 10, but they are part of one in one being, and so that's how we get to the 5 of 5 protruding fingers, or the 5 cubit of Jeremiah 55:22, 1 Kings 7:16, 2 Chronicles 4:10, time multiplied by 10 panting nostrils, or the makonas bar adiyat zabhan, or exhale out and exhale out maqarat al-falmuriyat qadam, and so we get to kure, or the kuras, the 10 kuras, and so these are the exhaling parts, these are the panting ones are the adiyat zabhan. These are the positive pressure valves, and these are the negative pressure valves. We can look at it that way, and so that's how with 2 palm pots we get to 50 again, and his du'a'i diameter is 10 cubita, and so but again you can look at the 10 cubita to become 12, although it is 10, like 10 cubita that we have in these references, plus 2 cubita word van hand to word van hand, bream to bream. The 2 breams are also part of it, and so that's how the 10 cubita or the 12 cubita is the diameter of the daidur disc, and then the circumference is 30, and then the length of that lens, the tallness of the lens is 50 cubita, and then it can reach or shoot or photo shoot into 144 cubita, 144 cubita, back and forth. 144 cubita altogether, back and forth. That's the Ola al-Amad moment. That's the length of it. That comprises of the 70 cubita long anchors, or these entities at each part. And so this is the oral orb to oral orb. This is like a double-sided orb that we have. Plus 2 cubita word one to word hand, bream to bream, lingual lip to lingual lip, or top right speak to lower left speak, mouth sword, or oral orb to oral orb, or 12 conduit cubitas that we have it also. The third point about the geometry of the temple, the measurings of the living Christ, is that each one of the 2 chapiters, or kotaras, or quduran taqdira, or the perfectly architectured and measured and qadar, or decreed, or the determined the diameters and the apertures, or the frames basically of these palm pots, or the cups, or the lily cups, or corneas. Empty, made, khalaq, vacant, wallet, palm pot, void, bags, ghurfa, that humans have it too, although that ghurfa is related to human ghurfa, but again these are part. Christ has the ghurfa or grabbing part is like 5 cubita هی همساهندی خمسat or خمسat or خمسه همساهند that are the peak end of the 18 cubita ironahi handstaff or maqalat or FOV rod range, qalaf or sling shot range are affecting or fire-rahing his own malakuti membrane or makan or qarar makin of 4 elements or by the 4 elements. That's how the range is completely covered with the watchtower or with the photo shooting camera. His affection comes through his one handbreadth or one tafah or one hollow fluty and boob thickness of 4 elemental fingers that are working with that firepower, that can do handshake for saving or for chinut protoing or the bridging or connecting, making a BDCT and bridge for picking up the living consciousnesses or for earth shaking or bringing earth shakes or ra'ash و رعش و ساعت or sa'iqa or rajf or the quakes, disasters. These are the iron rod, modes of the iron rod, or the axe, akash, akashic, khazaf, khusuf, kusuf, or chasaf, kesef, or pottery overturn, or just upturning the entire pottery pit from alpha to omega, omega to alpha, completely just playing, wrapping that pottery pit like a backyard that belongs to the king, Christ King, or a special silver wipe, or we call it solar lunar eclipse. We will look at it in detail, or image erasing. Again, this is in the dark room or where the negative films we are in it, or the Hades pottery pit that can pots or the negative films can be dropped or aborted, or ajna cord cutting cry, or scissoring scream, or sa'iqa or sa'iqa, anti-barak lightning. Again, this barak or that is the lightning of the thunder under Indra is gonna be just like a very flimsy spark of flatulence in front of this barqa khawfan of Christ, or rain of meteor matar and tombstone storm, are bringing the storm, or hasaban of the tombstones. Again, these tombstones are require the full combination of a handbreadth. All the 4 elements must be in that tombstone, and then they must be cooked with firepower of the Christ. And so again, the water, the heart, at the heart level, any kind of mind or any kind of causal key can be shut up and down with this. Again, the entire Jali, Prithvi, Akasha, and then the Vayu or the void, air, space, soil, and then the water are combined and then cooked to make a nice solid tombstone that David gave to basically toss it up, and then Christ smack it into the head of the Yogi Guru Goliath. In the same way, thunderstorm, storm, Hasaban, that's gonna come upon. Doesn't matter, the number doesn't work there. Even 50 billion of them are just gonna be done with that. These merciful modes of punishment upon the yogi of vagina and reward words as well can be implemented through different mudra modes, in which Hosanahi handbreadth or the tafa of 4 cubita, that in fact these 4 cubitas are the 4 banks of the river of life, or the 4 living beings that are carrying the middle ring, that the middle ring again is the Christ, as we read before. 4 living beings are kashaying or eye-catching or catching up to Allah and His Ruhi rainbow ring. And so when the Ruhi rainbow ring comes down, the 4 living beings with they are double cornea too, with looking up and the looking down. At the same time, they Christ gaze and they follow the Christ wherever he goes, and in his elevatory salsabil. And so once Christ or the Haoma bird bounce up, they look up and then bounce down. At the same time, that they're always looking up for receiving the Israfili order, or Sarafil. Israfil Seraphimis that are looking up for Allah to initiate the execution of the hour upon all of us, while they're always looking up and saying, Holy, 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 Yahuwah al-Haq ta'ala, Yahuwah al-Hukhta, Khakak Hagyus ta'ala, is Allah Almighty. Then at the same time they look wherever Christ goes. And so these 4 living beings or Israfilis or the 4 nashids or muazzinin or the muazzins of the tree of life go wherever the trunk goes. Again, these are parts of the trunk. That's why the trunk or the shaft of the lampstand has 4 cups, and so Christ is working with them. And so nashids or the acacia shoots or 4 cedar poles of Isahi ark cornerstone or Hosai handmaid, or the 4 rings of the ark, or Jalal of Hosanahi handbreadths is 4 cubita he fire of lily work. That's why we have the 4 cubita of the lily work, or the Susani photo shoot power of the lily work that we have it here, or that's how the lilies are stirring the dust of the Adama, or the ground at the Vasat, that is jamming or gathering at the center of the garden. And so when they say that the finger of God in Exodus 8:19, the finger or the neck of God, or the shaft of the lampstand is affecting, that means that the yakin is working and getting the Boaz to steer fa'assaranna, or asar, or steer or raise the dust of the field, and as we read in Revelation 11, to turn the waters into blood, and then do whatever God wants to do, and Christ carries it out upon us. And so is 4 cubitahi fire of lily work, lens photo shoot, 4 cubitahi fire fountain of gulla, or gole, or gol in French, in Persian, in Greek. That's the meaning of the name of the French, the country of the French. Gol, flower, or golle, or emanation, or gulle, or jala in Arabic, or jalla, or glacia, or gawle, or jalal, jelve, or the budded head, or the flourished flower flame. That's the flourished flower flame. That's precisely the photo shooting power of fire flashing power of the camera, that is actually giving different modes: rashe, sa'iqe, khusufan, kasufan. We will look at it. All of them, we will cover all of them. All of these different modes, or sending meteor, or baraqa khofan, or the lightning, what they mean, we will look at them. And so this is the firepower, the 4 qubitahi firepower. And that's why the 10 lower levels, or kiur or kure, kiur, or kure, or kure, or qure, or qar, and then 10 exhale outlets that are also the 10 exhale outlets. By exhale, it might it depends. Sometimes you can look at it as the outlet, sometimes you can look at them as the inlet. If you're looking at the energy packages, they are the inlet, but if you are looking at the same time, they become also the outlet. They are like operating under the negative pressure, and 10 inhale bases, or 10 top makonas, or maknun, or 10 panting nostrils, but sopa as a tanafas. And so again, these pantings are not only inhaling but also exhaling, and these ones not only exhaling but also inhaling. And so the quyur, or the kuras, or the 10 cures, or the kuras, or the mini furnaces, or the lavers, or the mini basins, what they do is also inhaling, or intaking the sins, or intaking any kind of cockroach that wants to go outside of the hellhole. And at the same time, they are intaking power packages, and then they deliver them to the computer. And at the same time, the 10 makonas are receiving Allahi love light, and that's how the Christ is makoned and firmly fixed. And at the same time, and so they are like giving, and at the same time they provide the flooding, and so they inhale and intake the heavenly, the passengers, the pilgrim passengers of the mother book to the mother book, and at the same time with the positive pressure, internal pressure, they get the heavenly flooding to come out into hellhole. And so that's how there are in a way bimodal, but in fact, like again, the cures are not the cures or the kuras or the lavers are for washing off, and these ones are for anointing, and so they take away these add. So we can look at how they are in tandem work of Isahi Ritra. but again, each one of them has two types of functionality. Also together, these two types are giving us 4 different modes. We will look at that ahead, and we will even look at the fake style that orangutans are plagiarizing, or how their garbage works, as well as how the God-made chariot work. And so of Isai Ritra are 4-wheeled, and so as we read, there are these 10 or these 19 hell angels are 4-wheeled, or stationary, or or murabba, or 4 square, that is here not usable. What we call it is the stationary. A part of the rab means 4 square, but people think that they are the 4 square things like in the sketches, but again, these are waves, so the mountains, and they look around without running around, and that's why we have it in 1 Kings 7:31. That's the meanings of the rabba or murabba'i, or the stationary rabba, or the 4-wheeled. And so without looking, without running around, they look around, and then we will see at some examples about it. And 4 cubita wide and long in associated membranes, because they are working in double malakuts. In both malakuts are working, or the double side of the malakuti membrane. And their thick heights are 3 cubita, through which 1 cubita wide mouths that are through which 1 cubita wide mouths that are looking round after the work of the corneas are connected between the 2 membranes. And so the 3 cubita that we have, and then we have the 1 3 cubita wide mouth that can look around, that is looking round. It is related, works with the corneas, or the with the carneas, or with the cataracts, with the lilies, or the Susani lilies. And so this is the 3, and then we have the 1, and then 1, and then we have the joining. It is because of this shared 3 cubita height between the 2 malakuts of 10 tandem lever and bases. Again, this 3 cubita height is shared between them, and bases that 1.5 cubita of the thickness opening aperture is given to each one of them, depending on how they are working, but like basically they are assembled on top of each other. And so we have the 3, or the common shared height, and then we have 1.5 cubita to each one. And so they are together like twins, with a joint skull type of thing, or with a joint part of a body, but there are 2. Like me and my brother, the 2 horn ram, but we are each one anthropos, that are together becomes a double horn, double tropos, or double tarfi entity. Of thickness or opening aperture is given to each one of their wheels. That's why we have 1.5, or their cones. Again, there's no wheel, no one goes anywhere, they are completely stationary on each side, or on each layer or layer of entering mawred or mammering membrane, or murad or marad or when half a cubit high, that's why we have the 5 cubita of the Kotarats. Here we have the here we have the 5 cubita of the Kotarats, or the قدور الراسيات قدورا تقديرا, or this قدور الراسيات, or the 2 cups or the 2 hamsa palms of the Christ. And so each hamsa of Christ is being carried by 10 of them, of lavers or kuras, and 10 bases, or we can look at it that each hamsa has each finger has 1 kure and one base and 1 kure or laver, 1 base and 1 laver. So that's 1 10, and then we have the other 10 that are in tandem. And so that's why each 5 cubita hikotarat is covered with these 10, and so it the share cubita of each one is half a cubita. And so this half a cubita is coming and being attached to that 1.5 cubita. And so connection with the topping thumb, like in different modes, that the fire of the river of fire or nar, nun, val alam, vama yastarun. And so when it gets all the way down, and then so in different mudra modes of that is used, is made and mirrored with each side of the wheels. Then 4 directional and 4 cubitahi lily wood fire. That's why we have the 3 plus 1.5 plus half equal to 5 times 10 becomes the 50 cubita thick Eden door or glass lens. It's the huge chunk of the glass lens. And so as for these 4 wonderful wheels, it is healthy to read a short reminder about them, these 4 wonderful wheels in Ezekiel 10. First, they are representations of 4 living beings. These 4 cubita lily power, or again the 4 mudra modes that are coming, the 4 sides or the 4 banks of the spatial river of the love and life and fire. It is healthy with legacy panah or face or formation of, as we read in Ezekiel 10, lion, as well as the Revelation, lion, Adami anthropos, or the palm trees, that's the same, or cubensis conduit for mushroom eating humans. That's why we have, when we say the gravings of the palm trees, we are talking about Adami anthropos face. One was the lion, one was the ox, one was the flying eagle, or one is the carbon or karub or heated ox, or the fatted heated carboni karubi ox. Again, we have it in Revelation 4 and Ezekiel. And then the other one is tamar, or water-worthy argument channel, or part of it is this morur or tamar dates, that we have it as the palm dates. And one is lion, and so one is anthroposi, one is flying figure or manshuri. Part of it is the Raqqa Manshur or Nashar, or the eagle, and then that's how they are together become the 4 together, the ring of the chassis of the four nashatin nishats, or the mu'azzinun of the tree of life, that upon whom Christ Karimi ring is assembled, the middle ring. And then we have the 24 elder hours, and then we have their all of their higher ring completely as the Israfil seraphims dedicated to Allah. Whether Christ Karimi Ruhi ring goes hawla hal arsh, or the around or raja arja of arsh, or the Christ Karimi ring comes down. And so when one of the 24 elder eyes, who is dressed in Sabayan wind suit, is told to fly, fall fly in firmamental fruit flight under Galgaling Galamos or Qalam, or four living beings, to feel. That's what we read in Ezekiel 10. And so to fill his heart pouch, or then the golden throne or crown, from fire, or the debiri fire, or the tadbir of Allah, the love, light, the tadbir of Allah that decides what is going to happen in reality, what is going to come from Allah Majid and Majid and Mawjud to become the existing thing that is based on love, from fire, the beer, or the oracle, or the spoken liver, or the Vedic Gloria, or the Kabud lightning load, or the heavy Kabud glory, or the Sahab Sagil. Kabud means heavy, or Kabad, or the glory. That's why one of the names of Christ is the heavy cloud, thick cloud. Some translations put the Qamam as the dark cloud. There is no darkness there. It is just extremely thick nif or nafe or naftali, or tall tail, visible breeze, dam, mar'iyatul dam, receives the mar'i dam, or commanded Christ cloud, or nur nard negah, or the love look or godly glance gaze of Allah, or the yellow face throne, yazdan stone, or the yasin yasna face, or pana pahne, or pishan, or bana safra al kursi, or seat, or cruise, or kursi, then or kasa, then the elder in Sabayan wingsuit goes, flies, stand up, vertically looks up toward one of the four fire distributing wheels. Are another name of them that we have it also in Holy Quran. And so this distribution is exchange, currency exchange that we mentioned before, sarrafi, or the currency exchange in Sanskrit or in Arabic, in Persian, or serving or surfing, serpents, fire serpents. These are the four fire serpents, or the serpents, and one of this surfing or serping is the wheels, or the afanan, or the oven, or afan, or radially fanned branches of again this is the higher related to the higher heaven, not even in the altar of incense, but in the holy of the holies. And so that's but again they are coming out, like the acacia shoots are coming out of the holy of the holies, or that's why they are too long, the poles, and so like the four corners of the Christ Kaaba Kibotos cube arc. Then the elder, we call it as the radially fanned branch, hollowed or fana. That's the name of the fana, means fun or word, or the fana or spirit, or the feng. These are all coming from the same root. In Chinese, wind, spirit, hollowed ovens, anything that is, for instance, hypno, like hypnotizing. Hypno means emptied, and that pheno is the hollowed or the emptied, and that's how they are emptied, so that the Salsabili elevator shaft can fan, and then the thick cloud can go up and down. The heaviest at this level, we are talking about the Christ Academy operating system of Allah operator, and the operating system is actually the heaviest program that is loaded on computer, on him solar self. And so like needs a extremely powerful fan system to glory gaze the Shamsul Haq Tabrizi, or breezy, or breeza of Allah. And so a part of this hypnosis comes later on into phoenixes, or the fanus, that we have it in Arabic or Persian or Greek. Phoenix, fanus, or hypnos, or fana, fan. Fana means dying, or phenoma, spirit, or even talking. That's all related to Agri Afanan. That's the meaning of the Afanan. There is no branch. Some people translate this as a worldly garden, but no, this is in realm of Fana, and that realm of Fana is just different. These phoenixy will spirit fans, or ovens, or offans, this ofan means wheel, or whirlwinding, are whirlwinding simultaneously in an entangled manner. Again, they are the wing to wing, wingtip to wingtip, touching together. In all three levels, that there's 6 wings of Tadbir, wal Mudabbarat Amran, of the oracle, with 4 Nashit, Nashat, Nashiti shoots of acacia, or 4 handbreadth fingers, and Holy Heikal, or the Holy Heikal, or the third temple, or the Mizbah, altar of Dukhan, that we have it also in Surah 41:11. This Dukhan again is the Rozahi Dukhan, that actually gives air circulation to the flatulence in the Sahasrara sewerage, and then the wastewaters down there. And then erected Rakiya, or the Raq Manshur, or Yarek Barak, and also at the third level of Yahushahi, Yesad, or Khidr, Rifraf, or Rafraf al-Khizr, or Rifrafi foundation, or fender, or the raised roof, Isahi eastern gate of inner courtyard, or the new earth, the rational earth, or Homi Beit of Amores Arus, and Amores Ma'mur, and Beitul Ma'mur, or Imranahi Brida. That is why all of these 4 phoenixy wheels, or spirit fans together, or 4 river banks of Salsabil, or Salam Sabil, or the paths of blessing and the incense of prayers to be offered to Allah, or Ruh of Allah comes and blesses us in this chaotic cacophony of ourselves. Salsabili river pass of Allahu Akbaring آتش عشق or fire or ash ish yeshi yesai yishai the ash, whether you call it ash or yash or yashm, all coming from the same PIE root. We will look at how that is constructed and different types of that family, family that is again the root of the book of life. Isus, yes, Yazatai or Izadi, book of Yazdan Rahman, Yazua. Yahuwah can become Yasua or Yazuha or Yazdanuha. We can reread again that these carbon heat grabbers or charub and karub that can actually bring with the firepower of the 4Q beta Hilili, or the fire crabs or grabs or karubs, fire grabbers are covered with 3 times 24 elders, but again we have the 24 elders, and at the lower part of the Holy of the Holies in the altar of incense we have the high ranking thrones, super high ranking holy thrones. And so 3 times 24, 72 times 2 inside and out, 144 eyes, and their top finger of 4 times 2 equal to 8 samaniya word wings is beholding or kasha'ing or kasha or yaksha'ing, I forgot to mention here, or in English we call it kasha'ing. Like catch in English is coming from kasha or keshidan, or in Persian, in Greek, and in Arabic it is qashay, qashaya. And so qashing up, yakshaying up to Allahi pupil, and their middle wing ring row of mar'iyat dam or peripheral cotton cloud. Oops, sorry. And then middle wing ring row of 4 times 8 samaniya word wings is that is in fact 4 is beholding kashaying to isahi iris or aris or wide widths or the iris around that pupil, or the kabut gloria or the glory of God on Ezekiel 10:4, or the visible aura or peripheral cotton cloud labas labush of the ancient of days, or Shekinah Hisheda, or the Rajul Arjai rainbow nimbus or casted fire foot, Shekinah Hishadow of Allahi Arsh or Panah, Penuel, and their lower wing ring row of 4 times 2 equal to 8 word wings is love loaded with 24 elder eyes, or the Adamanthroposi palm trees and engravings that we have it that are doing the Kitab Masturing and radiance, form, likeness, resemblance, the muti of Adam plus Adamiyat Handa. That's why if you look at the Miraj diary of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that the hand was stretched with the hand of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and so that hand is precisely what we read in Ezekiel 10:8-21. That is the part of the Adami Anthropos hand, or the Tamar or the date channels, date giving channels. But again, these are the blazing charcoal dates that are complete mini charcoal dates of the mega charcoal that Christ is, that is Christ, that a prophet puts on his mouth so that he never lies, or on his eye, or on his ear, who are hovering, oofing, ufugul a'laying, oofing, now coming from the same, up, hover, upping, off, or of, or upping, at the most high holy cedar tree, or Sadratul Muntaha horizon, long and round with Allahi kise, kursi, or pupil throne, Arshul Karim, or Yakin, Arshul Makin, we also call it the Yakin Arsh. Again, the Allahi pupil is yakining the Isahi iris, as well as the Christ the Karimi lower pupil throne, the mini throne, or the foundation of the trunk, and at the same time Arsh is looking at Christ, Christ is looking at Arsh. That's how they are part of the straight path, or Sirat al-Mustaqim, that then extends out into the hell night where we are, but that in form of El Shaddai Boaz. That's why we say Bal Aqabatul Muttaqin. But again, the real part is that, and so that's why the Hesadat, or Chesedi Qairat of Christ will be counseled and wa'azed and joined by Jaburai Sephirat, or Safat and Safan as a part, and then the Jabbar will bring the El Shaddai love, because whatever garbage and filth is against the love of the Melchizedeki priest of Allah, Allahi beloved, then Christ will perfectly terminate that anomaly, that Hindu anomaly. And so Yakin making Arsh and his Isahi iris Ars, Qaus, Nimbus, halo. We also have the Qaus, Nimbus, halo in Ezekiel 10. A Vainahi point portion that is super hot for Du'ahi drunkards, or Ruhi resistant forces and Hezbollahi warriors of Lamp, who are going to attack to gay friendly Israel of Curse Krishna Scratch, is that when Ahmadahi Rosa of Allah went up to Mi'raj after the Isra soaring to the back of the cow Christ, then at the lower taht of the at the lower ring row of the 8 hand-like wings, where the 24 elder thrones are seated, of the most high holy Satratul Muntaha, that is like that is like radiance, form, resemblance, damut of 24 Adamahi human hands, or Yaz of Ezekiel 10:8-21, the likeness of a hand appeared to Ezekiel. In the same way, the likeness of a human hand or yad has happened to Rozahi Ahmada. Then he sees the holy hand of who, as I mentioned, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the brother-in-law of Yahya, John the Baptist, or the Ali ibn Abi Talib, or Amir al-Mu'minin, or the Prince of the Believers, and Allah. He sees that Allahi hand, and Allah. Oracles speaks tabirs or tabars with Muhammad with warm voice. That's where the voice voice of many chariots is the wing voice of the four Afananing super phoenixes, and so of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ruhi resemblance of Aliyah and Yahya, he Yohannes or Hannan, as we read. Christ says, there is no body more blessed than that of Yahya, that has born from a womb of a mother. Again, these two are going together, and Ali ibn Abi Talib is the prince of the believers and the prince of the hour 9, and Yahya too, and so together they are seated interchangeably at holy hours of 9 and 18 of Christ the Karimi calculus, because 9 and 18 are from the 12 are together. These are again the elder hours, or the holy hands that drop or the crowns that drop prayers of the saints and offers them, and the offerings of the heavenly ships to Allah. And so they are at the interchangeable 9 of 9 hour, or the months of 9, or the Ramadan of Imam Ali, and 18, and that is also the Asura that we are. That's why Imam Mahdi is basically the link of them. Each one of the 4 carbon heat surfing seraphims or cherubs are interconnected to one of the 4 Ofan or Afanani radially fanning oven wheels, and throughout the 3 levels of the Christ Karimi carousel gets them to wheelward in an entangled and symbiotic manner. Architectural work of this fire fanning oven wheel is like chariot wheels, or UFO Merkaba Markab, or turning tool asbab. That we have that also Markab here. Although altogether they make the lily hand breadth of 4 shoulder or 4 kataf, or and they are fixed on 10 bases, or the 10 makonas, and that again the 10 makonas, as we mentioned, 3 cubita height of them are shared with the 10 kuras, or 10 kuras, or the 10 levers, or the 10 bases are linked with those ones. And so these are part of the Isahi Eastern door, or enamoring entry mouth of captivating Python or Maftun. That's where we have the Maftun or Python in English, in Maftun, Fatan, and Fatan, or Maftan, Maftun, or that's basically when you become maftun, enamoring and charming, kareeming, or eschatological threshold of the honey house with tarshish or darakhshish tarshishay appearance or eyeglass identity mar'iyatan ayniyatan of Ezekiel 10:9 or 1 King 10:22. That's the appearance that we have. They are wheel-ward working or four-wheeled stationary arba'a or rab'a and puff mousing, that is pahing, puff mousing as watchtower, or waterboarding and looking and watching and scanning and running around agiling without running and moving around. No one runs anywhere, no one goes anywhere. They are just all hand in hand together, completely stationary, at the four corner. And so all that they do is basically kashaying or kashidan or catching up or catching down to the bouncing Christ or to Allah, and holding the 24 elder hours. Again, they are part of the yarek or the varek or the chassis of the lampstand, the four cups, and so they don't, again, without moving or ajaling or ajalaying around, as we read in 1 Kings 7:23 and 31. Directly according to leading head look or pahne bid ras, Ezekiel 10:11, of four Israfili seraphims who will ward after the work of two chapiters or keturats or qadr. We will later on focus on this word too, or the Zulqarnaini Cornelius. The fifth point about them is that, and that is why Ezekiel 10 says that all four of the ovenin, or the wheels or the mouses have one likeness. Like wheel within wheel in a telescopic manner, or concentrically turning, focusing, zooming rings, zoom rings in a lens of Christ Karimi camera lens. Whenever they are required to do carousel scanning or patrolling, like the Zechariah 1:10, the causal cords, whether in Hades or in heaven, then they empyrean, eyeing, firmament, focusing, fulkul mahshun, falukahi, falcon flying, or falakul aflaking, traverse, or halaking or halqaying of Ezekiel 10:11, sweeping loop. Then they do this type of eyeing. And so this eyeing is not that again, this fly, you don't go somewhere, they don't move. What they do is zooming in and zooming out, like for accessing to different parts of a malakuti membrane or a map or a katayya sejil that we read in Surah 21 verse 104, or like a property plane Then all that is necessary is to zoom in at a part, and then you can zoom out, and then you can zoom in at another part. That in that way, these they are like the four rings that are completely joined together, and that's how the lens zoom in and zoom out. But again, these four parts are not disassembled, or no one goes anywhere. That they are part of one chassis of the lens. And again, I must mention that the metaphors that I'm using to get it to make sense is in fact that any kind of optical device that we are making, we are plagiarizing it from our own Anthropocene eyes, or whatever we see around. I'm not modernizing the metaphors or the allegories. I'm talking about the realm that everything that we see is just a casted shadow of that. Like again, like we are just like a scum on the foam surface of that ocean. Just trying to modernize this holy, ancient, eternal texts for us with a function specific narration. Four wording bases are full of the Sabauti, Sabaian, Sabian spirita of the four surfing seraphims. And like the prosthetic parts for cedar poles of high altitudes, they would imitate their Vilvinda in vertical standing, anchoring the Christ arc or Mersaha upon the 9 equal to 10 plus 9 iron decks, and then the 10th one is the Christ, or becomes part of the Christ body. Anyone that Christ wants to sit on it or occupies it, like a slot. And then all of the rest, they are all connected together. Of Hades. And so these prosthetic parts are actually in a prosthetic thing, once you move something, then the artificial part is following what the operator is doing, and so they are extended all the way from Holy of the Holies as the four lever banks of the elevator of Isahi elevator shaft to the Eskatani door gate, and so whatever decree comes up there from Allah, once they do it, then it is simultaneously will be decreed by the Cherubis of the Seraphim, Esrafils, or the Aphans down here simultaneously. In a way, just like the Christ is up there and he's down here, they extend, they are again the four fingers of that handbreadths. And so, unlike prosthetic parts of the four cedar poles of high altitude or four acacia poles, they would imitate their Vilvinda in vertical standing, anchoring the Christ arc upon the 9 equal to 10 plus 9 iron decks of Hades, in cruising and lifting, roaming in Majraha, or the cruising of the ark on the floods, and in a rifting or like a roaming or in the carrying out or running a love look around the Galilee garden without going anywhere. Now that we're again, the gazelle doesn't walk on the Galilee garden. The gazelle is just hovering. That's how the mother sheep is working into the all different depths and parts of the garden, right at the vasat, as we read in Surah 100 verse 5, at the vasat, at the center of the garden, at the tree of life. And now that we read fairly enough about 3 love-lightful levels of the Torturi temper or Belwalad al-Muqaddas, of 12 ternas and 12 concentric swirls, let's focus on pomegranate part of perpendicular pen parts, or Ola Alam Amadem Mumaddada, or the erected shaft of speaking. In other one word, let's focus on Rosahi, rosary of romance Roman, that we have it, with golden bell links of white irona, or the golden beings that like a bladahi and beautifying belt, or golden girdle, or the solar screaming cosmetic of self-sacrifice, or Khurusos, Khurushan, Khurshidi, Zon, or Zinat, Zayyan, Zendei, Zinat of Revelation 1 verse 18. That's the meaning of the girdle, or the Zun, or Zayan, Zinat, that we have it as the girdle of the Christ. Again, it's not a human, but as a function specific naming, or like mesmerizing and Ahura Mazdahi eyeliner. That is why the metaphor that I like use is it's drawn around burning brim of Isa Messiah, spring, or Ainun Jariyatun, or Christ cup, or Hurul on, or Ka'sam Mu'ini fountain, or the fountain of the Songs 4:12. And so this is how we continue to read about the David subjected, or sabaqat, subjected, woven, braided, framed, a'mal sabaqat, or qadar, iron hera, or the tress in English, tricks in Greek, or torre in Arabic and in Persian, hare, iron hair or tress, of singing sacrifice, or surud, asard surud, or this of singing sacrificial stories, or reciting romance, or the pomegranate word walls, or the screaming stories of self-sacrifice for the love of Christ. That just is our immaculate, and each one are unique, the stories that these lovers have, and they are braided to the book of life of pure innocence, and how they have been butchered by the tenants of the farm because of loving the Christ Karimi gift of God to us, or the grace of God, or lutf, or khair, or fazlullah upon us. Again, if you, the more these martyrs love Allah, the more they become the surrendered lovers of Christ. And the more they become the surrendered lovers of the Christ, the more they become the lovers of Allah, God of that Christ. Just goes both ways. And so iron martyr, a ring radiance, or ravayat Rahman, or Ramman, around Messiahi martyrdom. Again, the Messiah is the martyrdom. Without Messiah, the martyrdom doesn't exist. And so once the Messiah exists, then the martyrdom can mean something. That there are 2 rows of eyeliner or Rimon rosary that are Kesha, Kasha, Kashaya, or catch, that catch around each one of the 2 Qudrats, or Qadars, or Qudurs, or Qudur Taqdiran, or Corniyas, or Gazel gazes of Isahi Zulqarnain. And so that's why we read in, again, the 1 King 7:18, 41-2, or 2 Chronicle, that these eyeliners, or this Rimon belt, or this girdle of Revelation 1:13, or this what we are still in this 1 verse for about 10 more slides. Surah 6 verse 99, the Rimon trees, or the pomegranate trees of that vineyard of God. And so they are 2 rows of eyeliner. Why? Because we have the 2 Qutarat, or the corneas, or the lily cups, back to back, or back to back inside each other. One is looking up, one is looking down, but I get down one, of Isahi Zulqarnain. Each of the pomegranate eyeliners is called 1 chain net bead braid, or shabakiya, or shabakat in Arabic Persian, or asfad that we have in Surah 38. These are the asfad that are together. Again, these are not the asfads of the devils or that kind of thing. These asfad, or the surud, or the saradul tasalsul, or sharshare, that we call it in Persian, or share in Hebrew and in Persian, or the sharshare, or the net, or the mesh, or the chain net braided bead, or the sardul batasalsal, recitation ribbon around that spring that gives the life of the world. I am the life of the cosmos, or the lower cosmos, cone, and that is how it gets there. Or the sharp-edged sword of Irona, or the cutting chadad, hadad, hadid, hadan, or hudud, the around, the periphery. That's actually the name of the iron in Arabic, or in Hebrew. The part of it comes from the sharpness at the corners, or the periphery, or the hadid. And so that's the outlining necklace, or musawwaran unuq. That the necklace, the outlining necklace, is one of the metaphors that is used in Songs of Solomon, or the bead belt of Songs verse 1, or charuz, or kharraz, or charuz in Hebrew, kharraz, we have it in Arabic or Persian, of Exodus 28:14, Jeremiah, 1 Kings, 2 Chronicle, all of them. Just as 4 oven wheels imitate the merciful moves of the 4 hot cherubims, or cherubims, or Israfili seraphims, at Tadbiri oracle, the eyeliner at the entrance, or underneath the Holy of the Holies, where underneath the 24 elders from the 72, they are also the part of them are the pomegranate ones. The eyeliner or the Roman rosary at the lower Isahi arch face pupil of the eastern bay door, first and second chakra center, is imitating the pomegranate chain of master martyrs. Okay, these are the master martyrs beneath the holy altar, or the holy of the holies, because that's why it says that they are on their that ring, in a way, in a transition zone between the altar of incense and the holy of the holy, that shabake or that asfat or that shershore. We have that shershore at the door, and then we have a shershore at that part, or at that boundary. And so is imitating the pomegranate chain of master martyrs, who are eyelinering the higher Isahi Araz, Iris, Qous, or Qashat, Qawsat, or the arc of Allahi Arsh pupil, or Arshul Majid, of Tadbiri oracle. Again, the sixth chakra, the third eye has also an eyeliner, and that third eye is just like the belly button, that is another eye, is basically has its own Christian cosmetic, or of the pomegranate martyrs. As such, for each one of the higher and lower Tarshishi trigrams of Hosanahi hexagram, there is one rounding row of romantic eyeliner. And that is why two eyeliners, or the tur or shabake, are drawn around each qutrat or qudur or rasiyat or qudur and taqdira or cornea of Isahi Zulqarnain, owner of two corneas. In addition to these two eyeliners, or tur or rose or shabake or shershare, they are 5 winking eyelashes, who are connected to 5 plus 5 equal to 10 levers, or kuras, or kura or qura, or magarat, or fal muriyat qadhan, and mekonahi maknoon adiyat zabhani bases of 2 Tarshishi eyelids. Again, each Tarshishi or Darakshishi or Dorshishi, or the crystallis glass door, or the 2 tablets, has its own eyelashes, in addition to the ring belting rosary or eyeliner of the pomegranates and bells, pomegranate juice in golden bells. These of 2 Tashisha, and that is why 2 plus 5 equal to 7 golden chains of Ironahi pomegranates are adorning the Isahi Batan, or entry of Islamo-Christian martyrdom. That's why we have the 7 golden chains that are attached to that 30 cubita circumference of the diameter of 10 cubita, brim to brim 12. Each one of the two Christ Karimi cornea chapiters are covered or eyelined with two romantic rows of 200 pomegranates, as we read in these references. And so are covered or eyelined with 200 pomegranates, who are as long as 8 times 12 equal to 96. That's why we have the 12. 8 times 12 equal to 96 cubitas. That is actually the 100 cubita minus 4 cubita lily of lily, fire finger, or gol, or kolle, or jala, or tajalli. Because that's the joint part. Or one hozanahi handburs or tafa of 4 hollow 4-finger flutes on each spirit side or malakuti membrane or ruhi rukhai rukh face of the Isahi Ismus, or the two tablets, two Tarshishi tablets. When two spirit sides are connected through the raised seat setup assembled standing Dinul Qayyim, or the 218 cubitas that are coming together and then giving us 144, or erected portal porch of speaking of 2 cornea horns, then Ironahi arc anchor or Chrismahi champion chains, shabakat or asfad or sharsharat, would reach to romantic range of 100 crying cubitas or 100 bismillahi basin bells, who are fulfilled by pierced javelin, crossed, sprinkled, mezraq, zaraq, blada, and jihadi pomegranate juice of 2 Chronicle 4:8. That is why Solomonian shepherd Bella or gauging grail, that we call it in Persian or Hebrew as Pamon or Peyman, Peymane in Persian translation, or Pa'man, warming message or occurrence, Payam, Payamad. These are all the aftermath or the of a phenomena or a warning message. That's the meaning of the Pamon or the bell, or the Peymane or Payamad, or rings with a pomegranate poem about Irenahi eyeliner of Isa Messiahi lamb, that Diladoni lips or transparent glass of oral orb, or speaking shafahi bulb or messianic misbah or logical ledge of logacy knowledge, are like a thread or radiant arrow or khat of a scarlet silver bullet that would kill the zombie Taoist and Durga dragonic worshippers of devilish darkness. Anti-solar speech or from Midbari or Mudabbarat al-Amr is calmly or nave or novelly or navai, sound, voice, novel. Temples or raqqat or raqqe or raqqe or delicate parchments, parcham in call it, or parche, the two membranes, two firmamental films or malakuti membranes, or two sides of one malakuti membrane. That again, at one part we have the bases and at the other we have the levers. Slender side surfaces, two templars, bones, shaqiqe, sadaqe, sadq, or erected rack of rakiye, raqe manshur, two transtemporal porch portals between two BDCTM concaves with assembled field of view depth height of 2 times 18, 2 to the power of 3 for each trigram. For we have one in one trigram, that 2 to the power of 3 times 18 cubita equal to 144 iron almonds, and with 4 times 3 equal to 12 bagare in gun barrels, and tafah or hollow cow caliber or amboob of 4 cubita are like a chainsaw link or sard or a piece of singing or surrounding pomegranate bells within tie locks or ruhi range or ringlet or samme or zamime or annexed and contained domain or daman of dominion, or the domain that the watchtower at the center sweeps and covers at the center of the Galilee garden. Shine shaloming shal of hadid or hudud, the hair ray, and this hadid or this hudud of Surah 57 verse 25, that is the bringing Ba's shadid. El Shaddai Ba's is basically the aperture of the word lines that are actually containing the entire Galilee garden. Song 611, Salamonahi barber, who is seated inside at the back of a scrying believable of Binai Sultan, is doing martyrdom makeup on his beloved Christ the Karimi groom. According to becoming design Faqazahunna, or the blueprint, or architectural atiya itosi order of Allahi Qadir Keter author, so that he becomes beautified for receiving his amorous Imran or amorous Amor, lovingly architectured Baitul Ma'mur, decides to come out into time, as we read, through one of the 12 righteous exits of coming and exhaling mouses, or the nostrils, panting nostrils, to see and check how the glowing groom glass with transparent glance of the clear seven skies, or azamat mutahhar samawat, has become look like or turned to be welcoming from madkhal sidq, or be rendered ruefully from void view of the earthly eye or perspective plane of the pottery pit of judgment day door. And so the barber basically from inside covers the hairline and then tweaks the photo flashing range and then the resolution of the computer according to what Allah has given to Solomon. And then Solomon comes out and then look from outside where we are going to be resurrected to see the book of life on judgment day door on the surface of the Dead Sea where the left foot is and then the right foot is under at the deep waters. We come from the deep waters or natafs or the sperms, their spirits, and then we bubble like bubbles, and then we see, and then whoever is written will go into azamat mutahhar samawat on judgment day door through the Chinook Peritomi bridge. And so Solomon is tweaking the range and then the sharpness or hudud or the word lines that is انقذ ننقصها من طرفها or اقطار الارض in Asura 55:33. That's how the triptoroposi imagination of the earth is contained by these word lines, and then or ba'as shadid or boazi el shaddai boazi strengths of this iron power that or the fire power of these gun barrels of the that are kind of connected through different mudra modes and then give the necessary firepower for Christ to control the gangster Gog&Magogian gangsters that if they are left unchecked they would not only smash electrons and chop down humans and then give psychedelic drugs to the humans, but they just basically demolish everything. And so that's why they are contained by that Boazi strength power. And so anyway, the barber is looking to the makeup and then tweaking the glowing groom for his bride on judgment day, so that they and he's done an amazing job. I've seen it at the last check as a member of the human circle of the end time. Blessed, good for the bride of that gorgeous groom. He's just amazing. One glance will because the grace of the graceful glory of Allah is behind that groom, and once you see that groom glass, then you will end up to the to reach to the conclusion that you haven't worshipped Allah enough and have sent in not enough kisses through Skyping long distance relationship on Sunday and Friday church mosques prayers enough, because that is just holy, holy, holy. And that is how Solomon writes, I went down into the Galilee garden, like he is leaving the scrying sphere that he has interiors and has went into it and then comes out and then from outside looks so I went down into the Galilee garden or Jannat of nuts. It is not nuts, it is egos or jawzat or ajuz or egos becoming passing javaz or javaz, jaws, the garden of crossing, garden of possible permission for crossing, or mammary membrane. That's what we have, mammary membrane of Genesis 14 that we read before. Of Hebrew abar oburing, traversing to the other side. Of Isahi boulder barrier barzakh ismus, to see the due date fruits of valley of Psalm palm tree or cubensis conduit of Christ Karimi cup. brook of honey bee, or nakhal or nahal or jaza on nakhlat. Nakhal or nahal means the honey bee, or what we call it as the nahal, or the sun palm tree, or conduit, brook. A brook is coming, a brook, and what we have it as palm tree are coming from the same root, or we call it Deborah, Deborah, or Zambur, or Dambur, in Persian, Arabic, Hebrew. Deborah, the name Deborah is coming, means honeybee. Sees through the crystal clear groom glass, whether the Christ the Karimi great plaza of Amplos, Plaza, Ritra wine vortex, flourished into firmament of life, fruit flying or revolving Jafanak al Jawab, or Jeffening Jafnat, or grapes eyeballs, and the romantic iron ribbons. That's what it is mentioned here. The romantic roman, or the pomegranates, or the iron ribbons, or the pomegranates of anti-Israeli pomegranates, is poured like jihadi juice into golden bells, or budded nazat فيهما عينان نزاهتان, gushed forth or sprayed, sparkled into pomegranate preeminence of looking from outside. That's why we call him in him, through him, for him in Colossians 1:16. Like Yahovah Lahing headlight Hodos, or not. And so that is how from outside you can see, as we will look in, we have reviewed, but we will I will recite it again. Exodus 24, you can see the expanse behind that double-sided glass door, or the double Tarshish tablety glass door, or tablet, and so that's why the Holy Spirit, we say 3 in 1. That's why we say that, like the glass, and then the daylight in that warm cozy house, and then the Allahi source of the light and heat are looking the same from a long distance when you are looking at it at the cold winter night in hellhole, and so but when you go into it, and then once the butterfly jump into the fire, then by the blood of Christ, of course the butterfly cannot do that, and then becomes phoenix, then you see the glass, the distinction, the bayan of the glass, and then the Holy Spirit, and the only one God. And here I forgot to read that this Zambora or Deborah oracle, whose honey or speaking lip, Sophia, Shafa'at, Shafahi, has Sharab and Mukhtarab for Alvana. The color of this honey is different, but it is a healing honey, and that difference of the color, not the taste, is different languages that is coming from the belly button of the honeybee. Healing honey for hollow hungry heart, and to see through the crystal clear groom glass, whether the Christ Karimi Amblos is and then the has properly the romantic iron ribbons, pomegranates are made in that garden. It is through these two Islamo-Christian elements of romantic rosary or shere or shabake or aswat or sard, or the joint two chains of the one chain for the entering to the inside, so that, and one bell, ring bell, for exiting, and so that the ring bells send blessing for the priest that comes outside, and one for announcing the entry into the palace of Allah King. These two chains of 200 that are in fact 296 that are joined back to back in 4 fingers, 4 finger widths, are actually gives us the 100 iron bells, or the golden bowls, peymane, or payam sending, or sending or signaling, or ring belling, that also can, but again, this ring bell is the ring bell of love to Allah and to the lamp, that breaks the silence of the egotistical fascination with this. It is through and so who are injected and fulfilled by 100 pomegranate juices of jihadi blood, and the second part is the 9 plus 10 equal to 19 mother bookship docking mountains. These are the 20 mountains around the Galilee garden, plus the Taha, or the 20th mountain, or the Tur al-Huda, Surah 20. That is the one that Christ sits or occupies. Or the وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ مِنْ فَوْقِهَا, or فَوْقَهَا, or top of her, or the Gaia is occupied and stabilized by the Rawasi or Raisi or Ras, or the 20 peaks, or the pedestals that are making her stabilized, who are valverding as anari anchors, silsilat, or El Shaddai angels, mala'ikan qala'izun shadidan, or like tongue zabaniya, petals of 70 cubita. And so all of the monsters that are talking about the fested, funky, punky petals of the Sahasrara of the Christian Caliphate, they are going to be devoured by this 70 cubita tall Zabaniya, or the iron tongues. That Christ the Karim is Zulqarnain, or ordinary of the two corneas, circumspectly circumscribes and confines, or Isanika conquers or subdues, or treads and reaches. It is through these two that these pomegranates, because these ring bells are like too loud, that they are like they say, when are you going to revenge our blood, as we read in Revelation 6:9, I think. And so they are too loud, and they break the silence, or egotistical silence, and so they are the ones that are washed in the blood of the lamb, and so they have made halal the Bismillahi blood of Christ. And so it is, and so with them we will look at that they are also called as aspat, or the iron rod of I think Psalm 23. or aspat, or the straight hairs, sabat, or shibat, that is used. And so with that, Christ changs or clapper claws or scratches the surface of the pottery pit, or rises the dust, as we read in Surah 100 verse 4. Ta'asir or asar, or the tills the ground, or khada or khoda or khevda, or gods the ground, and makes the cause the chunks of the paste, and they mix pots. That's how the hand works. And so through those pomegranate iron bells, as well as these paste providing sources, these 10 paste providing sources and stabilizing sources of the paste, the mountains of the that gives the real power of the power plant to comes, and then the Christ Karimi computer manages and portions for making different pots. Through these, Zulqarnain circumscribes or confines the entire Galilee garden, or Isa Nikas or Nakkars or Nakkaras or Nakkarus, or subdues and overcomes, threats, reaches, understands, reaches to the maximum level of 144,000. When the iron rod is made, then we have the 144,000 iron bells all together to make the iron rod of Mahishasura. And so that's the extreme amount of telephoto range. No matter how much this funky falcon Horus runs away into the darkness or tries to hide in delta wave depths, dark depths of the delta wave, they just headshot that piece of filth. Reaches or understands or bottom rocks the Shibas Ninhur Sagi third eye, or Hafratan or Aina Hamatan of Asura 1886, Hom or Hammam or Hamimam, or the of dark water, or the hot home, and so or dwelling of the Ashtarat Karnen, or again Ashtarat Ishtar Ajdar Ajidahak, or Ashtarat Eisht on 10 of Revelation 17:11. Eisht of the Shodashi Durga dragon, we call it also Aji Dahak, Zahak, or Ashtar, again Ashtarat Ashtarata Satanama, and then we have the Satanama, or the 100, or Ashtar, the two staring or bulging evil eyes, or Shotorat Dual Ainiya, or the camel humps, Qaranain, double corn horniyai Haman, with terror gaze, or Ima of Ajna, of Shiva, Shava, Sova, Su'a, of 7723, Shova 7722. These are the Hebrew pronunciations of Shiva or Shava, or Su'a, or Sayyati, Shivalaya, or Zavalaya, or that is also equal to the womanly washed, Vishuddha, Vozua, or esophagus, mirror, we call it Mari, or mirrored, Emra'at, or the vaginal wine press, and Durga dragon dwelling of dark Darak, or Krishna scratch cradle of filth, zabadan, scum, or the smoke of the bottom, the flatulence smoke of the egg and garlicky filthy thing that is in the holy smoky, as the Buddhist baboon says, in the belly of the fartful pharaoh comes out of it. In Revelation 9:1 talks about that filthy smoke that airs the pride parading puffed balloons that are going to be popped and can be dashed like empty pots of proud, whose foamy void view and Talmai Talam, Pharaoh, third eye, Ain Hamad, and a spring of bitter burning salty seawater, or Agagite or Ojaj, has made a ghost army of Haman, Gog and Magog goggles, squinted third eye gazing on yoga and meditation, whose samad or samudic zero gazing of the same summoning yeksan, sama, somma yeksan did, or didomying, or dedicated sight given intellect toward black hole of Krishna cause of Big Bang creation, has made them a strong Buddhic Boazi tendency, force or gravitational pull toward dharmic death. That's how the juggernaut is made, or the Moloch Malhi, sour salty Malakut, or the membrane of the Caliphati Akaza, or Ikesh, axe, Akashic shadow, or upturned image. That's how Christ is nicking all of these. Again, the paste is the scarlet paste that attracts plenty of the vampires and cockroaches and power-hungry monsters to eat as much as sex psychic she from Shikut Sagati Shakti Form Factory, Force Factory, or Ajita Hawk. But again, they are like in a parasitic way. The real source is coming from the 9 plus 10 equal to 19. These are the major sources that are the block buildings of the power plant, or the mines of the power plant that gets the power plant to work, like the Anari arc anchors of the power plant. Or we also call it as Thanatos, Tinat, Ethnosi, instinct of sorrow, full soil, that is primary substance of Ein Sof, God, Gotamai, Buddha.